Okay. So it turns out we need an option for doing the conversion to black and white with Photoshop because some people are having some trouble with Lightroom, various technical glitches, and have Photoshop from the last assignment. So uh, if you open your file, like just normal JPEG, right, you have a locked background. We're going to drag the background down onto make a new layer here. So here's a new layer. And this is the original. So the original stays locked. One of the things that you need to consider is cropping. And you can do cropping with this cropping tool over here. Think about how that's going to fit on your paper. Like, do I need this shaded corner? Do I like the shaded corner? Can I make another gradient that shades around here to create that effect without having all the blank space? Probably. Then ask, ooh, then I applied it. Let me put that back on. Then ask yourself, is the interesting part of this, or part of this interesting bit, the shadows? How important is that? What would happen if I brought that in? I don't know. I kind of like the shadows from the fingers. Maybe I can increase the information there of the shadows, like differential, and see how that goes. So I think I'm going to stick with this cropping. Actually, maybe I'll bring this down. I don't want to like crowd the top. I certainly don't want to cut it off, but maybe a little bit there. There. I have a tendency to have smaller spaces here and slightly bigger spaces here, so that's me. This is still bugging me that this is a little too tight, but maybe with the shadows over here it'll be okay. We'll see. Anyway, the thought process in Ms. Sutter's head. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at adjustment layers. There is, conveniently enough, a black and white adjustment layer. Bing. Okay. There we go. Now, you can use this slider to be like, there's the blue parts. See that go lighter and darker? It will make, there's the stripes, lighter and darker. This is really specific to the color. If you're like, okay, that's going to take me forever. Or, oh, wait, I forget the grapes are kind of reddish. You can have some fun with that. They're magenta-y too. Actually, let's slide down here and do the magenta bits. Whoa. Oh, that's not nearly as much fun as the red. Okay, and the yellow. Ooh, oh, look. Oh, yeah, what? With the hand? That's pretty cool. Anyway, so you can slide these around, and you can go back to this and you can see what happens if that were a blue filter, or if it just makes it darker, or a green filter, right? So these filters are going to be, whoa, that's not going to work. Ah, ooh, that looks pretty good. High contrast red. And again, high contrast red means that the red objects or objects that have red in them will be lighter in your picture. Notice that the blue lines on the vase have stayed dark with your high contrast red filter. Infrared, not really helping us. Max black, ugh. You need more. It's not, max black isn't bad, right? Because it gives you some, like the shadows are okay over here, but we can play with that other places. Max white. Neutral. Ooh, I kind of like that one. I kind of like the neutral one. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go with this, and then I'm going to mess things around. Because I can. So that's part one, right? So that's this filter. Boom. Then we're going to go up here and add another one. This is why we use Lightroom, because it's way easier. Let's do levels and see what we can do here. Your levels is the histogram, right? We talked about the histogram in class. This is where you can see, all right, do I want my whites like whiter? I lost some information, maybe no. But maybe just a touch to get the paper white, like there, right? This means that the histogram, you have some of the information that's falling off into pure white. Not such a bad thing when we're printing these. You can move the gray around, right, to see what you want. This will give you a couple different options, maybe. And this is your black point. So if I want those shadows to come in, wow, maybe that's a lot. Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Shadows to be there. And this is over the whole photo. Kind of maybe there. Meh. All right, so that's great. Now, what I haven't done here is anything that's specific to an area on this picture. It's overall the whole thing, right? So one of the things that you can do is if we blink, I'm going to blink the bottom layer. Okay. So we have this with the 2 adjustment layers. Listen carefully because you cannot see this key command. Shift, Option, Command, E. All right. Shift, Option, Command, E. And what that does is take what you're seeing and makes it its own layer, right? So I haven't undone anything, but I've taken what you were seeing on the screen and made its own layer. Now you can go in to that layer and work with your burn and dodge tools. This will allow you to make certain areas lighter and darker. There are other ways to do this, but this will work. So let's say I wanted to dodge just in here a little bit, just on the grapes. And you can see I am dodging the midtones. I could dodge just the shadow areas and dodge the shadows in here a little bit. We can zoom in. Always feel free to zoom in. Right, see how I can make the shadow areas in there a little bit brighter if I want, so I can see the details. These are your options. Like you can go in and be really specific about what needs to be lighter or darker. Maybe I want to make the dark shadow darker here. I can go in over here, instead of a dodge tool, I'm going to use my burn tool. My burn tool, slightly bigger brush. Oh, and that's the left and right square brackets, by the way. Make your brush size bigger and smaller. So I can make the shadow show up a bit more here. And that's again in the midtones. And then I can go here and I can be like, yeah, where are those shadows with those fingers? I kind of want to see those more. You have to be really careful because I'm like painting the shadows in and they're kind of there, but I want to make them, whoops, maybe not that. I want to make them even. So you want to be a little bit careful if you're going to then draw them. Oops, maybe a little more out there. But now we can, right? Now we can see those shadows a little better. I might have followed the shadow lines. I might have been off a little bit. We'll see. But those are the things you can do. Also, if you wanted to make a brush bigger, if you wanted to like burn in the highlights because you wanted, whoops, maybe a little bit smaller brush. You wanted to be like the shadow at the edge to keep your eye on the hand, right? You could make these things a little bit darker here if you wanted to, so it's not quite so like bright at the edge. I don't know if that works with the fingers or not, but you can undo, right? You can undo something you don't like. Anyway, so there's one option. So if you do this, and first of all, we're going to save, right? We're going to save as black and white, your name, options, because you are going to make multiple options. This is a Photoshop file, right? Save. Okay, great. Now, to save this particular option, right, you're going to do save as, and you're going to save that as a JPEG. And you're going to call this 1, right? So this is option 1 of, or 1A, right? So it's the first image with the first option. Seems reasonable. And this could be high, right? So it's a nice quality. Ding, ding. Okay, so there's one option. Now, we would like another option. How do we do this? You can take this thing here and just blink it, right? So that's one option, has all of those adjustments, right? I like that, great. The next one, maybe you go in to this and if you double click on there, you'd be like, okay, this one I want, oh, actually better yet, this one I'm gonna add another adjustment layer for exposure. Yeah, okay, fine. And we're gonna make it a little bit dark. Ooh, maybe we're not, because that just goes gray, right? So that's not gonna be very good. Maybe we make it a little bit brighter. The other one was kind of bright enough. Okay, I don't like either of those options. This is why we love adjustment layers. We can just undo that and go try another one. What else do I want to try for the second one? Adjustment layer with, how about, we could do, curves are a little complicated. Actually, that might be our best bet. Let's go to curves because we can. So this is kind of interesting. This is it's also the histogram information, and it's a black and it's a white, right? So you want your whites a little bit whiter or grayer, sorry. Or do you want, your midtones to be a little bit darker or a little bit brighter? And you can add points here and be like, oh, I want that part brighter and I want this part darker, and what happens? Like, I don't know. So you can mess around with that, one option. You can, and that's going to be, we can move that down there. But when you finally get your second version of this thing, and maybe I do want to do I'm going to go back into my levels, actually, and see what happens if I do, there's a slightly darker version, right? And maybe I'll bring my blacks up. Yeah, we can do most of this in levels. And I'll bring the whites up. So this is a contrastier version than what we had before, right? This was 1, this is 2. That's a different enough option, and you get a much blacker black over here. Okay, so then what we're gonna do, again, is do a Shift, Option, Command, E. There's my second version, right? And now I can go in and, again, do the burning and dodging that I want to, if I want to. If I'm like, yeah, I need that to be not white as much. And maybe I want a little more information. Maybe not. Maybe there's not really any information there. Or maybe I want to make this corner like super, super, super dark, right? That's the highlights coming down. We should do the midtones. It'll get even darker. We can bring this all the way in, and then we can do shadows. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's maybe another version that gives a little bit richer blacks. Let's say I'm a huge fan of charcoal. Like, that might be a good reason to do that. Okay, we like that one. So there's my second one, right? Same deal. We're going to save, and then we're going to save as. This is your 1-B, right? As a JPEG. JPEG. All right. So there's option 2. And then you would do the same thing for an option 3. So you get 3 options of this and then 3 options of the other one. So hopefully that will give you enough to play with. You can always go back and change the black and white filter you worked with to begin with. You can whatever, but each time just blink the layer here and then go in and play around, right? Maybe we want the blues to be super white and we want the reds to be darker for some reason, and then how does that change things? Do you go in and make this part lighter on the changed one? Like, you do you, right? But really explore those 3 options. So hopefully that's enough to get going, and we will see your results in the shared folder.